It is 00:00, and you are listening to the Best of Bond with your hosts Tylord and Wubs.
I must say, it's lethal.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Best of Bonds with your hosts Wubs and Tylord here, joined by our buddy Dave, the LOCH. He'll be joining us to talk about a brand new James Bond in the series. We moved from Sean Connery into Lazenby, back to Sean Connery once, and we covered all the Roger Moores, and then one more Connery, of course, with Never Say Never Again. But now we're on to a new Bond. We're on to the Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton, his first outing in John Glenn's third movie, or this is John Glenn's third outing as a director.
Fourth, right?
Fourth. Yeah, he did five darn Bond movies in the 80s. That's amazing. Okay, so here with Wubs and the LOCH. How you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad at all. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Yep. Glad to be here. Glad for a new Bond, finally. It wasn't overdue at all.
No, I don't think so. And you know what? I was on the commentary. I actually heard, speaking of moving on to a new one, Roger Moore even wanted to do one more because he wasn't pleased with that movie. He didn't like A View to a Kill like I did, like I like it. but I guess he wanted to do one more to like redeem himself. But the producer said, no, we got our man. We got Timmy. Or they probably thought it was Pierce Brosnan at the time, but they were ready to move on. And I think we were too, because we're on to the brand new Bond, and I think this guy nails it. We'll talk about our history with this movie. When we first saw it, what did we think about it, and what have we thought about it all the years up until our recent watch? I'll start with you, Wubs. What did you think about this movie when you first saw it, and how has it settled with you over all these years?
I saw it. I don't even remember the order I saw it, but I think it was another one I got from the library as a kid on VHS, and it was always kind of mid for me, like low to mid personally, and I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately, but it's true. Like like some of the 80s movies are absolute gems for me, but you know, most of them are sort of like just not really my favorites. And this one is kind of no exception. I do really love aspects of it though, and always have. I think it was great to finally get a new Bond, like I said before. So and Dalton's great too. You know, I think it could have kind of been anybody, and it would have been an improvement. But you know, just because nothing against Roger, but he was just getting just a little, as he said, long in the tooth, right? So but I think Dalton was a great choice. I think Pierce would have still been a little young at this point to really pull it off. And he had that kind of pretty boy face, right? So he looked really young even in the late 80s, and it would have been hard to see him as James Bond, I think, at that point. So anyway, unlike Lazenby, right, who in his late 20s, he was like 29, right, when he did his film, he looked like, you know, he could have been in his 30s easily, you know, and definitely looked a little more experienced, and I think that worked well for what they were doing. But yeah, back to Living Daylights. Yeah, it's so different, right? Like right away, like you can tell it's still the 80s, but it's so different from the films that came right before it. And not just with the new Bond, but just the plot itself and the characters that they have. The structure of the movie it's really unique, actually. I was watching it and thinking, like, there's not really another one like this in a lot of ways, just for the plot, but we'll get into that later. Dave, what did you think of it?
Well, I think with me, I just saw it at the perfect right time, because I was like, you know, like 10 or 11, 12 years old, and I saw it with my own money with my best friend in a really old-fashioned cinema with a balcony, and it was just, and I loved the A-ha song, because I remember it's been in the charts and stuff like that. and I was just completely just taken with it from day one. I've just always thought it was like almost a damn near perfect James Bond movie. And one thing I've always thought since watching it over and over again over the years, I always felt like if you got like a weird science computer and you wanted to generate a James Bond, and you were like, I want a 6-foot guy who's got a really cool voice, who was a Shakespearean actor from the theatre, who takes everything really seriously, and basing these performance on the Ian Fleming novels, and you came up with Timothy Dalton, I feel like, well, does it really get much better than that? I feel like even if you wanted to engineer it like with like some kind of like robot guy, I really can't say it get much better than that. And I love Roger Moore. I really do love Roger Moore, and I love all the other Bonds to lesser degrees and varying degrees. But Timothy Dalton to me is as good as it gets, really.
You bring up an interesting point though when you said you saw it when you were about 12, 13.
Oh yeah, about that, yeah.
I feel like that has such a strong impact. Not to take away from it, being like one of your favorites, but I feel like for me, I could tell you like that was like what World Is Not Enough for me, kind of was about that time, and I love that movie way more than I should. And I know it's because I saw it about at that age you're talking about in the theater. But
funny about nostalgia though, because I was literally talking to my best mate today about Star Wars, and I saw Star Wars when I was young, and I adore Star Wars, and I'll defend it to anything. And my mate didn't see Star Wars, and he's so indifferent to Star Wars. He's like, yeah it's okay, and it's and because he didn't see it when he was a kid.
You can tell like the things like that. Like I saw Star Wars when I was 7, probably the original trilogy, and it had a huge impact on me. There's probably no movies I saw that had a bigger impact on me than Star Wars. Seeing it on our little 15-inch TV, little basic 15-inch TV on the VHS tapes. The resolution must have been terrible compared to modern day, but I was more captivated by that little 15-inch screen seeing Star Wars than any movie I ever saw in a theater, by far.
And that's funny as well. And I've heard so many people say that, and I always remember Adam Savage from Mythbusters saying this, and it really stuck with me, saying he's been to loads of different people who produce movies and direct movies and write movies, and he said they all have got like a Star Wars poster in their office or a Star Wars figure on the shelf or something like that. It just influenced so many people.
Makes perfect sense. So when we see these things is so important, I think, to developing your personal taste and interest in movies. I noticed this too with you, Tylord. This was the first one you saw in the theater, right?
And it came out in 87, so I was probably 8 or 9. Pardon me. So I was probably 8 or 9 when I saw this, and I had already been a Bond fan from checking him out at the library. So I was already hard into like Goldfinger and Spy Who Loved Me. Those were like my 2 favorite movies at the time, and so this time it was like it was on a weeknight, I remember, and my mom took me and I didn't realize I didn't really watch the news or anything, so I didn't know there was a new Bond movie came out, but she was sort of keeping up with it, and we went to the show, and she's all telling me, now son, now don't get upset, it's not Roger Moore, okay? Like there's a new Bond now, but give him a chance. I
feel like that's what I have to do with my mom when a new Bond comes out. I have to be like, all right, I know it's not Pierce Brosnan, but you got to give him a chance, okay?
But you know what though? I've probably said this before, but I really love Tylord that you just said you could remember that it was a weekday. So I can remember when I saw Never Say Never Again, and I can remember it was a Sunday. But isn't that weird that things like that stick with you, that you knew it was like a school night or something? That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was in the theater is gone now. It was in the town I went to high school in. But I remember going there and oh man, and oh thank God I got to go see John Barry's final composition of the Bond movie. That's the first one I saw. I got to see a John Barry scored James Bond movie for my first movie, and it was his last one. But we got in there, and then the gun barrel smashes on boom, that really rich, heavy orchestrated. I think it sounds pretty much like living like A View to a Kill and Octopussy, but even richer. And here comes Timothy Dalton walking out. He's strutting out. Bam! He delivers the gun barrel better than anyone. And then it goes to that awesome intro scene, and I was just like, blown away. When we first see Timmy, I go, "Oh yeah, I can see that guy being Bond." Because in my mind, when I was a kid, I thought he kind of looks like a mixture of Roger Moore and Sean Connery. And I didn't
Oh
really
yeah,
know. I
too.
didn't know about the Fleming style Bond. I didn't realize how closely he resembled the novel Bond. But I kind of got a lot of Roger Moore and Sean Connery out of him, the way he delivered lines. And I and so, man, and my mom was warning me, now, don't, now, son, this is going to be a little bit harder edged, and it's not going to be as funny as Roger Moore's. So I was kind of, oh no, but it turned out like I was getting a lot of laughs out of this movie. It still has that typical John Glenn style with all the gags, like there's car chases and whatever, and it still has the John Barry movie. So it felt very familiar to me, but just like a new harder edge, like a movie with a younger Bond that could do all of his own stunts. It's like kind of like weird to see like Bond actually up on top of the car like the actor without cutting away to
Hmm.
a stunt man. But man, and so physical and athletic Bond is in this, and so I was just like blown away with this and that. And then my mom was telling me, oh yeah, I think it was because of the AIDS thing. Like Bond isn't Bond, but oh, and she was all happy about that. Oh, and he's not going to be sleeping with all those women that all that terrible stuff he does because of AIDS or whatever. And and so then I was kind of happy in my mind when I saw he landed on that boat and he was down there with a lady, and she goes, "Won't you join me?" And he's on the phone. "I'll be there in an hour." "Oh, you better make that too." So yeah, that's my boy.
Well,
Wow.
it's funny you should say that though, because me and
Yeah,
my mate joke about it all the time.
yeah,
But that woman, when he lands on that boat and he
yeah,
says, "Better make it too."
yeah,
I'm sorry. I feel like nobody remembers her. It's like as if she doesn't exist.
Hmm.
When people say, "Oh, Dalton only had one woman in the Living
yeah,
Daylights," I'm
yeah,
like, "What about the woman on the boat?"
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Right.
but it sort of cuts
Oh,
away. And but any thoughts on like that opening sequence for you guys? Like seeing him for the first time.
Do you, Wubs, do you want to go first?
Yeah, you might go.
no, go ahead, Dave.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think that first initial opening is so perfect because
Yeah.
I remember there's a British writer named Mark Gatiss, and he summed it
Mhm.
up really perfectly for me when he says, "You don't really know who Bond is when you see him on the plane. There's
Mhm.
those 00 agents, they've all got the back to the
Hmm.
camera, so it's
Yeah.
almost a bit of a mystery. And then when you see him cutting the wire for the 00 agents, and
Yeah.
one falls off the cliff, and then when Timothy Dalton turns round, and it's such a great reveal, it's just like, oh my God, it's just like, that's Bond. And then
Yeah.
when he's chasing that Jeep down, and he
Yeah.
jumps on top of the Jeep, and that's so cool to this day. It's such a great sequence. And
Yes.
the Rock of Gibraltar's it. I've always
Mhm.
loved that opening shot where he's skydiving, and you can
Yes.
see both sides of the Rock of
Yeah.
Gibraltar. That's awesome. It's so cool. And then when he parachutes onto that boat, and like you say, does the I'll be back in an hour, better make it too. I
Mhm.
mean, again, really, I don't know if you can make a better pre-titles than that.
No.
And
Yeah.
it's its own self-contained thing. It's great.
Right. How about?
Yeah, it is a cool intro for sure. I love that they didn't do the face reveal until the first 00 agent died.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And you get his emotional acting before he has any lines to deliver
Yeah.
I'll
from
say
that.
quick as well while I think about it. Have you ever seen the alternate gun barrel where he does like a little jump? Like he like
Yeah. He
hopped
kind
to
of
one
kind of
side.
like the Bob Simmons one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
don't think I've
I
seen
think
that.
I think it's only on one of the first two trailers. I think it's on
Yeah. You're
where
right.
it's
Yeah.
like, and then he just did it again for some reason.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Speaking of faces, did you guys notice? I kind of noticed the one guy, but the two other 00 agents there that parachute down with them, they got those two guys because they look like Roger Moore and George Lazenby. Did you guys notice that? I noticed the one guy looked like
Oh,
Roger Moore, but I didn't realize the guy that he cut his rope he kind of looks like George.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, I didn't
since
notice
you've
that. That's
Yeah.
Since
interesting.
you've said that does kind of sound familiar, but I've never really
Yeah.
thought about it till you said. But that does kind of sound right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that.
And as well, the one thing I really love, there's just a bit where Timothy Dalton's just running along that ledge to jump
Yeah.
on the van,
Yeah.
and there's like a little electronic drum machine part, and I think that's the very first
Yeah.
time John Barry used electronic
Yeah.
instruments on any of his scores. I
Yeah.
really thought it was
And,
really cool.
and I really love that. It has that like electronic percussion too. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
dude,
that's
it's
yeah,
so
that's the beat.
awesome.
Yeah,
Dude, I listened to this sound. This is my favorite soundtrack. We'll get into that in a minute, but I used to listen to this in my car when I delivered pizza, and one time it was raining and I was going too fast listening to that track and I rear-ended someone.
No,
Wow.
It wasn't bad, but
Well, that's good.
yeah.
it's a great reason, but
Yeah.
as long
Did
as
you
nobody gets into that's amazing.
did you give them your pizza and they let you go?
Yeah. No, I think I gave the cop the pizza. It was all smashed. And I go, oh, I was supposed to deliver this. It was like to a special customer that liked a special order. And then I go, I'll probably just throw it away now. And the cop's all, no, I'll eat it. I go, okay, you can have it.
Take it on your steak out. Yeah. Sorry, Dave. What were you gonna say?
Sorry, yeah.
No, that was basically just that. Yeah, that electronic drum pattern as well.
Yeah.
Tylord just now. That's the part I meant. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Really added to that piece of music.
Yeah, so awesome. And then I guess we can get into the music. We go into the title credits after the truck blows up. After that cool chase on the Rock of Gibraltar on those little narrow roads on the edge of the cliff, very cool. But we go into the title song with Aha, Aha or Aha. How do you pronounce them?
I think it's Aha. I
Aha,
think
Aha,
I
yeah,
always
Aha.
say.
Take on me, take me on. But we got another Maurice Bender intro. I want to get your guys' opinion on the intro and the song. What do you guys think of the Living Daylights title song and the title credits?
Well, I've listened to that. I've listened to that song so many times.
Mhm.
Literally one of my favorite Bond songs. One of my favorite
Yeah.
80s songs. I think they're just the melody's perfect. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've said this story a million times, but I don't know why it always makes me laugh every time I think about it. But when it was the 40th anniversary of James Bond, there was a free little magazine, with a magazine called Empire, all about the 40th anniversary of James Bond. And there's a little mini interview with John Barry. And he was saying it were the best people and the worst people you've worked with. And he said, oh, when I worked with Aha, they were right pains in the arse. And there was a little picture of Aha, and there was a caption, and it said, Aha, pains in the arse. And nearly every single time I think about Aha, I think of that interview. 'Cause I really love that band. And I went to see Aha, the movie, about 2 or 3 years ago at the cinema, and I loved it. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
But when I think of Aha, I think of that quote. I think of John Barry saying they were pains in the arse. It's like, that's my takeaway.
Oh, that's funny.
Didn't he not like Duran Duran either? He's just like a crabby old guy. He's my favorite artist of all time. But did he not
You should say that. I think in that interview, I think he said Duran were okay to work with.
Oh, okay.
But I think from what I can gather, Aha, they recorded like the song and they got the orchestra to do their parts with it. And then it was like 2 weeks later, Aha was saying, oh no, we need to change like one note or something. And so they had to get like 100 people back to just like change like 2 seconds. And I think that's why John Barry was like, oh, these guys are like massive idiots. But I've even heard quotes from Aha, though, saying that when they work together, they really can't stand each other. Like they ready just like kill each other and like bash each other's brains in and stuff. But they're so grateful when they've made like an album because they like this creative tension made like great music. But like I think like when they've finished an album, they're like, oh, we're never going to work together again. So I think even Aha don't like each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the title sequence is great. I think again, sometimes too, but like saying some of the Bond films can be similar. But I think Maurice Binder, like loads of his titles are so good, and I think sometimes they always just wash over me. That like I think sometimes, especially if it's a song I like say when I put the Living Daylights on, to me, as soon as that song kicks in, I'm just like getting into the song and listening to the song. So almost like the visuals are like an afterthought, but they're always so well done that it's kind of like it's my ignorance more than anything. Just with that one film in particular, because I'm so into that song that like it's almost like the visuals are like the music video really to that song, really.
Right. And then, how about you, Wubs? Any other thoughts on the intro?
I feel so bad after Dave said all
Uh-oh.
I was afraid that was gonna happen.
No, you should go first.
Go
No,
ahead.
it's fine. I just yeah, no, I think it's funny because I was watching as I was watching the movie and I was watching the intro, I was thinking to myself, this is probably like Dave and Tylord's favorite song ever, probably his favorite Bender intro, like all of it. It's probably, like absolutely like peak. And I'm watching it and I'm just like so underwhelmed.
No.
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
feel bad though. Like, and again, Dave, it comes back to that thing of it's just the time you saw it. I think
Yeah, I
like
mean,
so much like
perfect time, yeah.
it's just not fair, right? Like I think that the thing is like, and I even told my dad we were watching it together, and after the song was on, and I was like, I hate that song. And it's not because it's a bad song. It's not a bad song. It's just compared to most of the other Bond songs for me, it's just not at that quite that level for me personally. Again, just not because it's bad, but I think it's absolutely just because I wasn't around at that point. Like I wasn't. All of my experience of the 80s has been post 80s, right? I wasn't there for it all happening. And I feel like that in some ways, I don't know, like just something like that. For instance, like Aha as a group, I love Take on Me. I think it's a great song. I think that's one of the most iconic 80s songs ever. You know, like so I actually like, you know, music that the group has done. I never thought I just never was really into that particular theme song that much. Again, it's not bad. I think it works fine for the movie and everything, but
I
to
think
be
the great
honest,
thing about
oh, go ahead, yeah.
I think the great thing about Bond, though, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think the great thing about Bond is because, especially after the first couple of movies, they could more or less cherry pick anybody to pick like a Bond theme or do a Bond score. I think even if it's not to somebody's personal taste, because there's some of the Bond themes and scores there I really don't listen to very much, but I think because the composers were all like obviously John Barry's great all the time, and I think I said on some of the previous ones, I nearly always gravitate to like Marvin Hamlish for The Spy Who Loved Me and Michel Legrand for Never Say Never Again. And some of the people who've only done one or two scores, they just seem to just resonate with me a bit more. I don't think it's because they've only did one or two and they stand out a bit more. But I think with all the people who've ever done music for Bond, they're always at the top of their game because they can pick anybody. So I feel like even if they aren't people that people necessarily like, they're still good. But I feel like well, I think that's the great thing about Bond is that you can go, I don't particularly like that piece of music, but it's somebody who's won a Grammy. Like, so it's
Right,
cool.
right. You can say the same thing in more recent years too, right? Like I know Adele was really popular and everything. I know like two or three of her songs, maybe. I was never like a huge fan, but I love Skyfall.
Yeah.
You know, like that's easily my favorite song that I've heard her do. You know, same for Sam Smith. I don't really know any of his music, but I really liked Writings on the Wall.
Yeah,
A lot.
they're two good examples because, like you say, Sam Smith. I mean, like he's like British and like, and a lot of his songs have been on the radio in the UK, and I only really know him for the Bond song, really. And I think I know quite a bit about music, and I could only name one or two of his songs, if that, really.
I think the other thing is for the music, it's like you said, everybody has kind of different taste and stuff. And the Bond movies have been around so long, there's enough variety in artists now. You're inevitably gonna have your favorite sort of music based on what your taste is, because so many of the songs are so different. Some of them are just straight up rock songs, some of them are pop, some of them are more classical jazz, right? Like or contemporary jazz.
Well, I don't know what it's like in America, but one thing that's kind of a bit of a tradition, it seems like in the UK, but when the new Bond song is announced, they nearly always play it like quite early in the morning on like TV or radio. And pretty much my entire life, it'll be like, he's the first play of the new Bond song. And everybody always says, oh, it's not as good as, you know, insert the name. I'm like, well, of course you don't like it as much as the song you've heard
a million
5
times.
million
Yeah.
times. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
and
it's
you
like,
have a whole movie behind it with a
Yeah, yeah.
score based around it that you've seen 10 times. Yeah, it's not really a fair
Yeah.
comparison, right?
Mhm.
Until it has some time to sink in. This is why, like, I know I need to see the last movie again. I've only seen it once so far, and I just haven't watched it again to, you know, sort of solidify my
Yeah.
opinion on it.
We'll get to it
But
again.
yeah,
Yeah.
I need to see it again at
Yeah.
some point. I just I'll probably do that. Hopefully I'll do it before the end of our series we're
Yeah.
doing here, but I no promises,
Mhm.
Tylord.
I know. But the oh, I'm sorry, Wubs, on this one. Or sorry, Dave. I might agree with Wubs on this one. This isn't really my favorite song. I mean, I like it a lot. I listen to it all the time. This "Living Daylight" song. I'll have to agree with Wubs for once on this. But
oh no,
but
what's really good about
yeah,
that though, because
yeah,
I feels so natural to me now to be
yeah,
in a conversation with multiple people
yeah.
that say they disagree with me. So that's
Oh, I know,
good.
I know.
Like,
Yeah,
okay,
I just
yeah, normal
we're
service
always on
presumed.
the same page so much, but mostly because it seems like it kind of drags on. It's like a 5 minute song, and I don't really. I kind of think every time I'm listening to it, I just want to hear a view to a kill. I don't know why, but
Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly what it makes me think when I
yeah,
hear it. It's like it's just, and I think that's the other thing that's so
yeah,
unfair to
yeah,
the film. Like
yeah,
it has to come right after one of the best
yeah,
scores in the whole series,
yeah,
probably, right? Like that's probably fairly, we could agree on
yeah.
that, I would expect.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
that's a tough act to follow
Yeah, it is.
musically, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, and to be honest though, I think I said this to my dad when we were watching these movies too.
Hmm.
I mean, I love the View to a Kill theme song. I'm
Hmm.
not a big fan of the film, as we
Hmm.
found out last
Hmm.
week, but I do like the music a lot.
Hmm.
But what I really love about it is the instrumental.
Yes.
I love the instrumental part of it, and I think that's why it works so well for the score.
Yeah.
And it's the same though, I would say, with the
Yes.
Living
Yes.
Daylights.
The song in.
I love the
Yes.
the music part of it, the instrumental part of
Yes.
it. I really
They
love.
work
I
it in
just
the
think
movie
that the
very well.
singing,
It sounds so
yeah,
good inside the movie and the score.
inside the movie,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. But I just feel like the
Yeah.
singing, for some reason, it just
Yeah.
doesn't hit it for me
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much.
I
Well,
understand.
it's good you say that there, because one thing about the Bond films, they kind of taught me something about movies, but the way they have a title song and then use that as the basis for the score throughout the
Yes.
movie, and it's almost like hypnotic, because I feel like even if, like you say, it's a song you don't really like, by the time you've watched a 2 hour movie,
Yeah.
you've probably heard that melody,
Yeah.
6 or
Oh,
7 times, and
a
then
Yeah.
by the
bunch of
time the film,
times.
Eh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
now by the time the film's ended, you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of catchy, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
And speaking of that, my the other song in there, and it's like my favorite Bond song, like even counting the non-title one, is that Pretender song that Necros has on his
Yes.
dude, I
where's
love that
everybody
Mhm.
song.
gone?
That Pretender song, Where Has Everybody Gone? He's listening to it on his little Walkman. It's like a hard rock song with like John Barry brass in it. It just sounds like something
Mm.
John Barry would make, but it's like a rock song. It's so awesome. It's like my favorite Bond song, and that thing is worked into this the score too. It's like Necro's theme. So every time you see him
Right.
fighting or he's sneaking around, you can hear that little tune into in the score. It's so awesome. Same with the If There Was a Man, the Pretender
Mhm.
song, and I think that I think they were originally going to use that as the title song, and I think I like that one better. It's a really pretty song. I
I do
guess,
too. I
yeah,
was going to mention that
yeah,
actually. I think that's one reason why I can't say that the Living Daylights song
mhm,
is one of my favorites, because I actually like the Pretenders music more
yeah,
in the film.
yeah,
To be
Yeah,
fair,
and
it's
it's
pretty
more
good
so
stuff.
than like like Tomorrow Never Dies with Katie Lang.
yeah,
That's a great
yeah.
song
It is.
too, but Sheryl Crow's song
Mhm,
really holds up
yeah, it does.
in that for me. Like, so it's like, it's a little more even
Mhm,
for me
yeah.
personally. Sorry, Dave, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, Dave.
Oh no, the Pretender songs are really good, and again, I feel like that again shows the breadth of Bond. Where just in this one film in particular, you've got a Heart who've sold like millions of records, John Barry who's like literally as good as it gets, and the Pretenders, another iconic band, all in the same movie.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to criticize that really.
Yeah.
And the Pretenders were another British band, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
yeah. As far as I know, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite soundtrack by far. Like I said, I got in a wreck because of this soundtrack. I still have the CD from when I was a kid. Or I would listen to this thing all the time. I just love so many of the tracks on it, like that Musha Hadin one towards the end, and then that just so many tracks in this are so good. I think it's like John Barry's best. Like I wish he would have stuck around into the '90s to hear what John Barry in the '90s on Bond would have sounded like. But of course, what's his name was good. David Arnold.
David Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love David
Yeah, I
Arnold.
think
Yeah,
he's
David
probably
Arnold's
just
great.
like a reincarnation of John Barry, kind of. but anyway, we talked about the girls a bit. There's not many of them in here. We just have the lovely lady on the boat, the little rich girl on the boat, and then. But the only main Bond girl in this really is Kara, played by Marion Dabo, who is kind of a unique Bond girl. Almost, there have been a couple of girls like that in the novels that are just sort of like an everyday normal girl caught up in this strange world of espionage. Um, and I like her a lot. I think she plays it really straight. This movie's very romantic. Like I can kind of let it get away with only one Bond girl because the little dynamic between them is kind of romantic, and you kind of want to just see their plot unfold. And I think her acting is wonderful, and she even steps it up and gets in a little bit of action at the end. Like she's just a normal girl, but she's feisty. She's kicking, she's beating up soldiers and racing on a jeep, and doing crazy things while still being kind of in distress and needing Bond to help her. And kind of some comic relief, like kind of bumbling around and irritating Bond. So I really like Kara Milovy in this. What do you guys think of her?
Hey, what do you think, Wubs?
Yeah, what do you think, Webs?
Yeah, I think she was great. I think the actress, like you said, played her really straight, and she's a very beautiful woman, obviously. And I think I don't know if she's Russian or not, but boy, her accent sure sounded Russian to me.
Yeah, sounds good. No, I think she's English. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think she did a really good job with the accent then. And yeah, just it's sort of like you said, it's a more romantic movie. So you can sort of see why they didn't have more women in it. But at the same time, I was gonna say related to that, OHMSS is like the polar opposite of that, right?
Yeah.
It's probably the most romantic movie in the series,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he gets with more women in
Yeah.
that probably than any of the others.
Yeah.
But the 60s was a different time, I guess, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good call.
yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think she's as far as a leading lady goes, I think she may stand out actually as one of the better ones.
Yeah.
As far as a character goes, she's very likable. I think that's the thing as a character.
Yeah.
You know she's been taken advantage of by the villain, and Bond is even taken advantage of her at the beginning.
Yes.
Right. And so you sort of sympathize with her situation. She's just trying to defect, man.
Yeah.
Like she's not she gets sucked into all of this political drama by really no fault of her own. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
It's
I
kind of
think
sad.
she's good.
Yeah, it's kind of sad she would fall for a guy like Koskov. Like he's such a slime ball.
Yeah.
Like he's pretty good,
Right.
charming, like a good charmer, like a good actor to get a girl like her.
Right. Yeah, that was a little hard to believe.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I guess other than that, there weren't many ladies. There was his thick little friend that helped them out getting Koskov into the pipeline, that kind of big
Yep.
girl with a big bosom. that was
Right.
kind of a funny scene. That was probably like the
Yep.
sexiest scene in the whole movie.
It was pretty funny though. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
pretty funny. That
yeah,
was probably the funniest part of the movie,
yeah.
right?
That
Really.
really felt
What's
like
what?
a yeah. Go ahead.
But what's funny about that lady though that helps him get into
Yeah,
the pipeline? She's in another Timothy Dalton film
yeah,
called Hawks,
yeah.
and
Hawks.
every single
Yes.
time when I watch that, I'm like, "Oh, it's them two from Living Daylights." I'm like, because I grew
Yeah,
up, I love Hawks.
Ah.
Hawks is great, and so anytime I see them two together, I'm like, "Oh, it's Hawk, it's Living Daylights."
yeah.
That's
You're
cool.
right. Yeah. And then, but as far as his other buddies, he has, of course, the MI6 crew is back. Freddie Gray's there for like the fifth time in a row, and Robert Brown's back as M. And we got Q in several scenes. I think there's like two Q Lab scenes, which is awesome. And Q's out in the Czech Republic or wherever they are, and he has Koskov launch off in that Harrier. Like he's in the movie quite a bit. Q, and we have a new Money Penny, and I think she's super cute, like a cute nerdy girl. And I know a lot of people trash this one because she doesn't do much and she's not in the movies much, but she actually like does research for Bond in this one. Like she's kind of more of a part of the movie than usual in this. But any thoughts
Well,
on the MI6 crew in this one?
Well, it's funny you should say about there
Yeah,
not being many women in this movie because
yeah,
Moneypenny in this,
yeah,
again, it might just be the time period I saw it in.
yeah, yeah.
She's one of my favorite Moneypennies and one of my
Oh,
favorite
right
Bond
on.
women. I think
Yeah,
she's so attractive
yeah,
and just so sweet and like just like and like you say, she actually researches for Bond. She
yeah,
actually does a job too, so
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
yeah,
Yeah, she's great. I
yeah,
really like that actress as Moneypenny.
yeah.
I think I love Samantha Bond as well, but
Yes.
they're so different. You know,
Mhm.
this Moneypenny is much more feminine
Yeah.
than Samantha Bond.
Mhm.
So it's sort of like I guess it makes sense given the times
Mhm.
that it would be that way coming off of
Yeah,
what's her name,
she doesn't
Maxwell.
throw a fit like he makes her glasses crooked and slaps her on the ass, and she doesn't make a big fuss about it.
Right, right. This was
Yeah,
back
yeah,
when you still had pensions, you know,
yeah,
and like office
yeah,
culture was not
yeah,
terrible like the way that
yeah,
it is now.
yeah. No kidding. Yeah,
There was still fun in the
yeah.
office to be had.
And then, as far as other buddies, his buddy Saunders, and I thought he had a cool little character arc. Like, as is typical in the John Glenn movies, he usually has a male buddy that dies halfway through. But this
Right.
guy Saunders, he starts off as like a guy with a stick up his ass, and he's always by the book, and he's always nagging at Bond. But then he ends up helping Bond, getting him information, and then that's right when Necros
What?
executes him, and then like you see Bond's rage. But any thoughts on Saunders?
Well, it's we should mention Saunders though,
Yeah,
because there's two parts with Saunders at the start that I really love. The
yeah,
part where he can't get his night vision goggles to work, and
yeah,
Bond has to
yes,
switch them on for him. I
yeah.
love that part.
That's
That's
so
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
And then when he says you missed on purpose, and Bond's like, "Yeah, tell me, boss, whatever you want. Tell him I don't care."
yeah,
Like I
Right.
just love that part where it's just like
yeah,
that's typical Bond, where it's like, "Yeah, fire me if you want. I don't care."
yeah. I know,
Right.
it's
Just
so
like
awesome.
because I've
Because he
quit
knows like
so
what are they
many.
gonna do, right? They're not gonna
Yeah,
there's nothing they can do to him, right?
yeah,
They're not gonna fire him, they're not gonna kill him over that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I heard somebody once make a really good point on a fan commentary saying, you think all the flack Bond gets, like his boss is A team and he's always taking, crap from his superiors,
Mhm.
but he saved the world
Yeah.
countless times. And what's the worst thing he's ever done is like ruined a car or something. It's like, but I've just saved planet Earth. It's
Yep.
like, what's the problem here?
Yeah, but Q doesn't care because Q's like the father figure. He's the
Yeah.
father you can never satisfy,
Yeah.
right? If you don't bring that car back in pristine
Yeah.
condition, you
Yeah.
failed as a son. Like,
Be careful,
No.
007. It just had a new, fresh coat of paint.
Well, I've always loved that well, that's one thing I've always thought was funny. They said we've winterized it. I'm like, winterized? I don't know what that means.
Mhm. Yeah. And then we do
they knew they
get.
were going to Russia.
Yeah, yeah. This is so
Yeah, go
awesome.
Google.
The scenery in this movie. There's a contrast with like the cold European areas, and then there's like the deserty North African areas. Yeah,
But I think
but
that's the great thing about Bond. When
yeah,
you watch like a 2-hour movie, you
yeah,
think of all the visuals that you get. You
yeah,
are
yeah,
getting like these massive snowy mountains and
yeah,
hills, and then you are getting like the desert and London, and
yeah,
it is like everything all in one
yeah.
package. Kind of.
And all that stuff in Vienna, all those beautiful buildings and everything, and all the fanciness in Vienna. And then, and you see Bond at a circus going on rides. I don't think we ever saw that before. but and then, uh,
What
and then we get
What
to
you talk
see the
about when you
Aston
talk about
Martin
Bond
back.
going to different
Yeah,
places?
yeah,
I always love the part where Bond goes into the hotel and
yeah.
the guy behind the reception says, "Your normal room," and Bond's like, "No." And I always think, what was in that room? Why was Bond
Oh
so quick to
yeah,
say, "No, I don't want my normal room"? I was like, what was in there? Like,
yeah,
how weird
That's
was it?
where
Like,
that's where all the whips and chains are. He didn't want to
yeah,
take care of her on a first date.
it's
yeah,
like she's a nice person.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, this girl's way too nice to see my regular room.
yeah. Yeah, it's weird to see him say no 2 rooms this time because he's not trying to come on too strong to her, which was weird for Bond
Mhm.
to say 2 rooms. Usually, like when Moneypenny books 2 rooms, it's like, oh, she's being a little over efficient or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Good call.
yeah, and we get the awesome Aston Martin back again. This is pretty much just like a homage to Goldfinger. This awesome chase scene. It's just like bringing back the gadgets and the Aston Martin with this awesome car chase. Any thoughts on that?
You Wubs, want to go first? Or?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really like that they brought the Aston Martin back
yeah.
finally. I felt like it had been just too long,
Mhm.
right? When was the last Aston Martin we
It
had
was probably
before that?
Thunderball, probably.
Gosh, should have been
Yeah,
that long? That's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I mean, nothing against Lotus or whatever. I
yeah,
mean, I even when we were doing our favorite cars, I know I
yeah,
picked the Lotus
yeah,
from The Spy Who Loved Me.
yeah.
It's my favorite car, but the Aston Martin's just so iconic for
Mhm.
Bond. Obviously, I
It,
feel like
it
it's
didn't.
almost a sin to not have one.
Yeah.
Didn't Lazenby have an Aston Martin in?
Oh, you're right. I'm
Uh,
sorry. Yeah, he has
Yeah,
the
yeah,
DEA.
that's
Yeah, I'm
true.
sorry. Yeah, it
He
was
did.
Yeah,
HMSS. Yeah,
to
that
be
was the
to be
last.
fair, it's got no
Yep.
gadgets and
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it's kind of like
yeah.
just a cool car, which sounds a weird thing to say.
Yeah, no, he used
Right.
he used it quite a bit in the movie though, or he drove
Yeah.
around it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad it came back.
Mhm,
They did some really cool stunts with it.
mhm,
Obviously, it's funny about it when he's going out on the ice and
mhm.
the Russians are launching their rockets at him. I always remember the scene in Grumpy Old Men when the little ice shanty gets
Yeah.
Walter Matthau's driving it out into the ice. That always makes me think of that when I see Living Daylights.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
And he buries it, and then the Russians shoot it, and it explodes
Yeah,
right after he gets out.
yeah.
It's like I always think about Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
Uh,
So
I can
yeah,
see that.
it's great. It's
mhm,
it's really fun. The car was awesome the way they
mhm.
used it, and then they got to get away riding in the cello case,
Yes.
sledding in the cello case, which is obviously so.
Yeah.
That's like such a Roger Moore thing to
Oh, it
do.
was. Yeah. Yeah, even the car chase was very Roger Moore. Like everyone says, there's a huge contrast between Tim and Roger Moore, but I just see a lot of Roger Moore, which I loved about Tim when I first saw it. Like he cut the car in half with a laser, and then she's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Salt corrosion," and then he's like, "I've had a few optional extras installed." Like he just says all the Roger Moore type stuff, and it's awesome. Like he delivers it so well.
We knew that laser was a total callback to Goldfinger,
Yes, yes,
right? Like
yeah,
that's but it's
yeah,
modernized.
yeah. Like yeah, you're
Well, it's funny
lucky
you
to
should
be
mention
alive.
the cello case thing because
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite parts from a making of on a James Bond movie.
yeah,
But when they talk to the stunt coordinator, I think it's Chris Colbold, and he says, "Oh, the actors had great fun doing the cello case
yeah.
scene. They all loved it." And then they cut to the actors and they're going, "Oh, we hated it. It was a nightmare." I don't know why that always makes me laugh every time I
And
think
that
about
was
it.
really the actors on there doing the stunts, and Timmy was controlling it with the cello.
Did
Yeah.
they use a real Stradivarius?
Oh, I hope not.
I'm dead glad you said that actually, because
Yeah,
Living Daylights is one of the few reasons which it's like literally a close call between the Living Daylights and the Three Stooges. Why
yeah,
I know what a Stradivarius is.
yeah.
It's like that's the only reason I know.
My Stradivarius, my beautiful Stradivarius.
Good God.
Yeah.
Stradivarius.
Yeah.
I do think it was a little easy for them to pass from the
Yeah.
east to the west
I
at
know,
that
you just, yeah.
checkpoint.
Hey, here, wave this.
Nothing to declare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell the passports up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I saw it at such a young age, but so many scenes and lines in this movie are so iconic to me. I think at one point it was my favorite Bond movie, as most of them are at one point. But I think when I became a man, like around 18 or 20, like I realized, wow, this is my favorite movie, like out of all of them. Um, but anyway, but as far as the enemies go in this, we got Pushkin, who doesn't really turn out to be a bad guy at all. He's just sort of like Walter Gatell 2.0.
Hmm.
John Rhys Davies is Pushkin. I really like this character. I think that's the reason why, like that guy became one of my favorite actors. Like he's in Indiana Jones and in this and in Lord of the Rings. But I really liked General Pushkin in this, and his wife is smoking. Um, what do you
Yeah,
guys
of course.
think of Pushkin in this?
Yeah, go. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, like basically what Tylord said. I
Yeah,
mean, when anybody's been like Indiana Jones and stuff, but
yeah,
amazingly, I don't think I really connected the two at the time, even though I'd
yeah,
seen both of these movies a lot.
yeah,
But he's so good, and the performance is so
yeah.
just on the level, perfect. And like I
Mhm.
say, his wife is again a
Yeah.
really attractive woman in a James Bond movie, and I
Yeah.
think you see a little bit of side of you at one point. Not that I
Yeah,
was
you
looking.
do. Yeah, you get to see more than the
Hmm.
boob. Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know what
noticed.
though?
I
The
noticed
more
that
we
on
talk
the Blu-ray. I noticed you could see a lot.
the
Yeah.
more we talk about this movie,
Yeah.
there's a lot of sexy women in the living daylights. It
Yes.
seems.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I'm
of them.
just
It's just they're not in it very long.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Mm,
it's like a little treat.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's the two CIA
Yeah.
agents
And
that
we
pick him
forgot
up.
to talk about Felix has his two sex. He's kind of like like Felix's Angels or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it
Felix
felt like.
Felix Leiter, who's not. I forgot to mention him because he's really not in it that much. But he kind of seems
but,
like what I would expect Felix Leiter to be like.
but you know, it's really funny.
Yeah,
Funny you should mention Felix Leiter
yeah,
though, because this is one thing, and God knows what it must be like for people who've gone through real trauma in their life, that people
yeah,
who've been in a war or some
yeah,
crazy thing. Because literally, to me, this is something to this day I'm still embarrassed about. I grew up watching Hawk the Slayer. Hawk
hmm.
the Slayer is one of my favorite movies,
Oh,
one of my
okay,
favorite science fictions of all time.
yeah.
And John Terry, who plays Felix Leiter, is Hawk in Hawk the Slayer.
No
And I
freaking
did,
way.
yeah, and I didn't connect the two until like 10 years ago, and I was blown away when I clicked in that they were the same people, and he's
Wow.
in Lost as well, which took me even longer to figure out.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
that's my little confession.
yeah, and I do like. We hadn't seen the sexy saxophone music in a Bond movie in a long time. Remember when the two CIA chicks picked him up in the convertible? It played the. If we used to hear it a lot, like in OHMSS and Goldfinger and older Bond movies, when there's a sexy lady, it plays that brassy music like saxophone. We got a little bit of that in this one. I hadn't heard that in many years in Bond movies.
But you know what though? It's funny. Funny you should
Yeah,
say that though, because growing up in the '80s, I
yeah,
felt like every fifth song had a saxophone in, and
yeah.
I feel like you just don't see saxophones at all.
Yeah,
I feel like
You
unless
know,
you're
that's
literally
true.
watching an
yeah,
orchestra, you don't see saxophones, and I don't know what happened there.
yeah,
Well, and you don't hear it in a lot of the music either. Like if you say like 80s and saxophone, I just think
hmm,
Eddie Money.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
yeah, good
that's like
thought.
yeah.
and it's not like there's five others immediately in my head
Hmm.
either. That's just
I was
the
thinking
one that
The
comes to
Lost
mind.
Boys. There's a saxophone player in the Lost Boys, and
Mm.
I think
Hmm.
Tina
Hmm.
Turner. We don't need other heroes. Got a saxophone on, but
Yeah,
yeah, maybe I've exaggerated. Maybe there wasn't as many as I thought, but
yeah.
yeah, it
I'm sure
feels like there is
if
in
we
my
start
mind.
thinking enough about it, we'll come up with 20 probably.
Hmm. Yeah, they might. Yeah, they're probably in all the Bond movies, just like subtle. But then the baddies in this, and once again, I think these are kind of underrated baddies. Like these are usually guys on the bottoms of everyone's favorite villain lists, but Necros, I think he's a really good henchman. Like I said, I like his theme
Hmm.
song, and he's just such a calculated killer, and he always is resourceful, and he always has some weird creative way of murdering people. He's sort of like a Red Grant 2.0. Any thoughts
I think
on?
he,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think he's the best villain in this film.
Yeah,
Of all
yeah,
the
by
villains, I
far.
think he
Yeah,
just blows it out of the park.
yeah,
Because it's you basically have like psychotic kind of Dolph Lundgren going
yeah,
around killing spies.
yeah,
Like Necros is the only one of like all the villains who, I mean, you could say like the future Wade guy,
yeah, yeah.
who's the whatever
Oh,
the
Whitaker. Yeah,
arms dealer.
yeah,
He gets his hands dirty at the
yeah,
end,
yeah,
but not really, like not a lot. Like
yeah,
Necros does the majority of
yeah,
the killing in this movie
yeah.
as far as like the villains go.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely like a Red Grant sort
Yeah.
of character almost. I really wish that they had more of a showdown at the end. I mean, I love the plane
Oh, that
sequence
was.
at the
Oh, I
end,
love that
but
showdown.
I think it would have
Yeah.
been better if like they had done like a more like just a little longer fist fight on the plane maybe before they got thrown
Okay.
out of
Yeah.
it,
Oh, dude, with that,
like
that
yeah.
net fight was like the most amazing thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the net is incredible,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we figured influenced the Uncharted 2
Yeah. I'm
video
pretty
game,
sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that bit where they're hanging off that plane on the
Yeah.
net. When I saw that as a kid, that was just a cool action sequence to me, and still is.
Yeah.
At the same
Hmm.
time, I watch it now and think I would die in 10 seconds if I
Oh
was on that
yeah. Of
net.
course. Yeah.
How can people hang off the side of a net and pull themselves back up? And this is
Right.
one little bit of trivia. Oh, I've got random trivia about everything to do with like
Uh-huh.
anything really, but especially Bond. But the guy that plays Necros, my mate once, who owned a video shop really local to me,
Uh-huh.
he was organizing conventions all the time, and he did David Warner's official website, and he
Yeah.
knew loads of famous people and did loads of different things, and he organized a festival called Foray Fest with Ken Foray from Dawn of the Dead.
Oh,
And when
excellent.
he was selling tickets for it, on the table next to him was the actor who played Necros, and he
Andreas
brought tickets to go Foray
Yeah.
Fest. And
Yeah.
I always thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he ever turned up, but the fact they brought tickets is still cool.
Yeah. But, that's awesome. And then, yeah, I don't really see that guy in too many other movies. I know he was in one of the newer Mission Impossibles. Um,
Oh, wow, really? Oh, I didn't
Andreas,
know that.
I can't pronounce his name. Wisiewski. I can't pronounce it. Andreas Wisquiewski. He's
That
like,
sounds
I
about
think he was.
right.
I think he was
I wasn't
a
sure myself. Should
dancer or
know, really.
something. Yeah, he was like a dancer that they had a good physique and a scary looking guy they wanted for this movie. But yeah, it's kind of a yeah. He's kind of the highlight of the villainry in this. Although I do like the others. I like Koskov's performance. He hams it up. He's a real sleazebag, a real Weasley guy. But any thoughts on Koskov? Georgy Koskov.
I'm just trying to think. I guess we've touched up on a few of them. I think. Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm just. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you want to go first? Whoops, my mind's just gone blank.
No, sure. Yeah, I just think he's just such a slime ball, right? It's hard to even picture him as a
Yeah.
real Bond
Yeah.
villain. Like he's almost more of like an Austin Powers villain,
Yeah.
kind of just how he carries
Or,
himself, and
or
you
he
can
almost
just tell
seems like the mid tier villain of another Bond movie, or the guy who would be
yeah,
like an underling of the main villain.
yeah, and the actor really hams it
Yeah,
up
yeah,
too. So you just can't take this guy seriously at
yeah.
all. And I mean, I guess that makes it funny. It adds some comedy to
Mhm,
to it that it otherwise wouldn't have.
mhm,
But yeah, so I don't think he's like a bad actor or
mhm.
anything. I just think it's so interesting. He's like
Yeah,
the really ridiculous character, and then there's Necros, who's basically like
yeah,
Red Grant, like super
yeah,
serious and effective and
yeah,
everything. Yeah, it's just an interesting mix of
yeah.
villains.
Right.
Well, I think what I was going to just say, and I'm glad you stepped in there because it just made me to think what I was going to say. I think the plot to The Living Daylights is so
Yes,
complicated,
it
and so
is.
because I
Yeah.
feel like
Hmm.
I feel like that like there's sometimes I get like really confused by really simple movies, but
Mhm.
I feel like I've seen The Living Daylights so many times over the years But I feel like, I don't know if it's just a little bit of like, I've almost built this thing in my mind, so it's kind of almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy that it's just come true. But I've always felt like I can never fully explain the plot
Yeah,
to
it's
the Living
too hard.
Daylights.
It's really hard to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like, yes, this happens, this happens, this happens, but then
But
I'm not sure why.
yeah, kind of like Octopussy. I think like that has a really complicated plot too, but just like you understand it as you're watching it and it flows really well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Yeah.
said that
Yeah.
because I thought it was just me, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly my point about the Living Daylights. So
Yeah.
my feelings on it really.
Yeah. But then the big baddie, I guess he's the main villain, but that's not really on it much. Joe Don Baker is Brad Whitaker, the American's arms dealer, and he's kind of just he's a really unique character. When I first saw the movie, I remember my mom thought he was hilarious because he was like a big stupid kid, like playing with toys, and he never really had real battle. He was just like an armchair general, or he got kicked out of
Yeah.
military, and he's selling these weapons. He's a really crooked guy. I remember my mom thought it was hilarious, and I think that scene at the end is pretty darn cool now that I watch it, where he's in his room with all of his toys, and he has remote controls controlling everything, and he has all the new the best equipment, fighting with Bond, and he's taunting him. It almost feels like a video game when you get to a boss and the boss is taunting you, and you're trying to hide, or like kind of the newer modern video games when you have a boss fight, and but
Is he one of the few Bond villains that's got like statues of himself
yes,
and
that's another
replicas
thing
like
that's another
everywhere?
thing, yeah, unique about it. When you first meet him, Pushkin's meeting up with him, saying, "Hey, we're not going to give you that money. That was all Koskov." But you see all the statues of like Napoleon and Hitler and Genghis Khan, and they're all wax sculptures of Joe Don Baker. And then
Yeah.
he's standing among them, but it's really him. And he walks forward. Oh, hello, General Pushkin. Like that was kind of a cool intro for him. And then
Do you think those wax statues were they given away at the end for
oh,
presents to the cast? Like
I don't
people
know.
got to choose, or like
I
a
want to
competition.
get one and turn it into Jack Wade. No. but but then he another thing I thought was kind of unique about this movie was when Pushkin met up with him. It was kind of weird during this time period to see like the American generals, the crooked bad guy, and the communist general is like the guy of reason. I thought that was like a kind of unique dynamic.
Yeah, it was
that's true.
interesting to do that. That made him much more like the like Gogol, right?
Yeah, pretty much. He's like the Go-Go 2.0. Yeah, they were gonna have Walter Gattel play the part, I guess, but he was kind of sick and getting old, so they got John Rhys Davies to do that, to play a new character. And
I kind of wish they had brought him back.
I know.
Like he could have been in Goldeneye.
Yeah, he could have, huh? Yeah, he could have been in Gold. I wish they would have brought him back too. Yeah, I really love Pushkin. And then
That's a good thought. I never thought about him being in Goldeneye. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would have been. I guess it's kind of weird that what's his name is in that though. Joe Don Baker's in both movies playing someone different.
Right.
But
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess we pretty much covered the end of the movies. Did you guys like how it ended? Oh, and then it has a nice little romantic ending at the end where Bond actually comes back to see the girl. Usually, would he ever come back to see Pussy Galore or anyone? He's off on another mission, and Kara's having her big orchestra, her big show where she's the star cellist player, and everyone's there, and even the I forgot to mention Cameron Shaw, the head of the Mujahideen.
Yeah.
I think I forgot. There's so many characters in this. He shows up. He was kind of a cool character too.
Yeah.
But
I like the fact that when you see him first in the jail and they free him, and then he's almost like a completely different guy later on. That was really cool.
He's forgive the theatrics.
And I like this, the bit as well when he's saying they had trouble coming through customs, and he goes, I can't imagine why. Oh, that's a great one.
And they've all got their assault
Yeah,
gear
they all
on.
have like their ammo straps on.
Yeah, their bullet belts.
And then here's him, and then here's
and as
him.
well, I'll just say quick while I think about it, but the bit with the plane
Yeah.
when Bond's trying to defuse the bomb and he
Yeah.
drops the plane on that bridge and the bridge explodes.
Yeah.
That might be one of the best
Yes.
practical effects
Yeah, that was
of all
yes.
time.
Yeah, the miniature.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that was so
It
good.
looks amazing.
Yeah, that
When
was
I
a cool
first saw the
setup.
making of and saw when I first saw the making of and saw it was a miniature, I was like,
Yeah.
it was a miniature. Like I was like, what?
Yeah, so awesome. I forget to mention, I got to go inside of that. What is that plane called? S-13, that Hercules, the little
Oh yeah,
car.
yeah. Oh, you got one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they have
Wow.
it over here at this Castle Air Force Base near me at the Air Museum. I got to go inside of it. They have it on display, so I was happy to go in there.
is it a lot? Is it as big as you thought it'd be in real life,
It,
or does it kind
it
of
looks
look
about this.
different?
It looks about the same. I don't know how you would fit a van in it and have like passenger seating in it. You know,
Mm.
remember like Necros and they had the human. Another weird plot point, the diamonds and all that. But they had the Necros and Karen Bond were all in there with the heart in that passenger area. I don't think it would be big enough to have that and the van inside of it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
didn't they say in the making of that the plane couldn't taxi down the runway with the bridge open. They had to do it in like a
Yeah.
removal van or something,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
The part of her going inside with the Jeep was a moving van. The angle of her driving into it, and then I guess they had a miniature of it on another smaller runway near that. But I mean, it all went together seamlessly.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And as well, I'll say this quickly while I think about it. Was
yeah.
John Barry as a cameos at the
Yes,
end, don't he, as the
yes.
conductor?
All right, his final movie, and he gets a cameo as the conductor at Kara's concert, huh? Yeah,
I still to this day though don't and nothing against John Barry,
yeah,
just any conductor that's ever lived in the history of music.
yeah.
I don't know what conductors actually do because I feel
Hmm.
like if
Yeah,
the conductor wasn't there, I'm sure those musicians could still
yeah,
play that
I
music.
don't understand that either. Like, I don't understand why the conductor's there. Like, they're not looking at him. I'm sure there's a some. I know I'm missing something, but they're just
Oh yeah,
looking at
yeah.
they're looking at their papers, their sheet music, and they're turning pages and they're playing their music. Is out of the corner of their eye, or are they seeing his timing or something? I don't understand.
And as well, I
Yeah,
don't still to this day
yeah,
I don't understand how you can be playing like the violin and turn music at the
yeah.
same
Me too.
time.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's physically.
I
How is
don't
that even
understand.
possible?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, this says a conductor leads a musical ensemble by interpreting the score, setting tempo, and guiding the musicians through performance and rehearsal. So yeah, he's like setting the timing of when
Yeah.
the music hits
Mhm.
different parts, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's amazing musicians that can watch that, turn
Yeah.
pages,
Yeah.
and do it all. Like I think that's incredible too.
Yeah. Yeah, I could
That
never do
explanation
that.
you just
Yeah,
said sounds about right.
yeah. I've a lot of respect for musicians. I can't read music. I can play instruments and note chords and stuff, but I don't understand reading music and just being able to put your fingers wherever it says on the paper.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've always been amazed by musicians because I've had
Yeah.
like bass guitar lessons for like 10 years, and
Yeah.
sometimes I think like I can barely play anything. And today
Mhm.
I tried to tune a ukulele with
Yeah.
a digital tuner, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I'm like,
Oh.
that's really sad.
Oh.
It's not your fault, Dave.
Yeah.
It's the tuner. You need to get a better tuner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could, I'll use that excuse. That'll do for me. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, but we get Bond ending, actually coming back, what kind of makes it a nice little cute romantic ending. Like I said, usually you wouldn't expect Bond to ever return to one of his Bond girls after the mission's over, but M says he's out on assignment. Kind of crazy. The head of British intelligence is there with the head of KGB saying, "Oh, hey, General, this is Kamran Shah from the Mujahideen. Oh, good to meet you. Everyone's getting along." but uh, but um, but then it goes into the Pretender song, "If There Was a Man," and it ends. Um, and then, of course, after watching this on Blu-ray, I thought it looked gorgeous. Like I noticed so much more than
Yeah.
ever, like side nipples and stuff like that, to name it. No, but so much. so much. The movie looks so beautiful. Just the way it's shot and the camera angles. John Glenn's so underrated as a director, and now seeing it in Blu-ray, just the movie is so crisp. Like every single shot of this movie is so beautiful. I just love it even more than ever. What do you guys think now after your most recent viewing? I'll start with you, Wubs, so we can end on a positive note. No, that's good. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
I guess that's smart, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, like for all my criticisms, I
Yeah.
still it's still an entertaining movie. It's
Yeah.
right. It's still a Bond film. It's
Yeah.
still, I think, deserving of the praise that it gets.
Mhm.
And you got to be excited for. I think you got to always be excited for a new Bond.
Mhm.
Even if you love the last one, it's always exciting to
Mhm.
see a new Bond in their first film, and because they usually do something different
Mhm.
and it mixes things up quite a bit, and I think
Yeah.
this one was no exception. It's quite different from the films that came before it,
Mhm.
and I can certainly appreciate that. Having said that, I'm really looking forward to our next
Ooh,
episode.
yes. Oh man, yeah.
Could be good.
Yes. How about you? Or how about you, Locke? What do you think of
Yeah, well,
your
I
new
mean,
opinion?
like, well, we said a few times, like, but like to me, like, I feel like it gets better
Yeah.
almost every time I watch it. And obviously, I saw it at the cinema projected, on 35mm, so technically, I've probably never seen it as clear since I saw it at the cinema.
Mhm.
But anytime I've watched it like in HD or on Blu-ray, which is the same thing, I guess, it's always looked good. And I think, I like new movies and I quite like digital for the most part.
Mhm.
I do think when you watch an old film shot on 35mm, shot by really professional directors and
Mhm.
director of photography and great editing, and
Mhm.
people like John Barry, they're just a joy to watch. I mean, it sounds like such a cliche and like such a a quote unquote old person thing to say, but I feel like you don't know what you've got sometimes till it's gone, and I feel
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
just watching these films, just the money is all on the screen, all the
Yeah.
actors look great, the art great, the costumes are great,
Mhm.
the music's great, the lighting's great. So it's
Mhm.
almost like, how could anybody not? Even if you watch it with the sound off, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like just great. I mean,
Yeah.
but uh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
in other words, I liked it.
Yeah. No kidding.
Mm.
I was watching it with my daughter this morning today. Well, I watched it one last time with the commentary on, and my daughter was watching it with me, and the commentary was on, so she didn't really understand what they were talking about, but she was laughing and giggling and cheering at that opening chase scene on Gibraltar. Yeah,
Great. That's actually quite sweet. I'd never even thought about
yeah,
that, about like watching a film with
mhm,
somebody else with the commentary. That
yeah,
must be a quite unique experience in a way, because
yeah,
most people don't watch films like that anymore.
yeah,
Hmm. Well, it's been so cool to have this Blu-ray set because there's all the commentary you could
mhm,
want, really,
yeah,
between the directors and actors,
mhm,
and in some cases the editors,
yeah,
even film editors are on there, and like there's so much extra content on these Blu-rays. Like I've probably watched like half of it. Really, like I
mhm,
never, because there's so much. Like
mhm.
you'd have to spend so much time each movie. Tylord, what do you think? Like 10 hours per film,
Oh, I'm
probably, of
sure. Yeah,
extras?
yeah.
Like,
Especially the Roger Moore ones, because he would commentate each one on top of there'd be another track with like John Glenn or whoever, and then sometimes there would be a third track. So some of
right.
some of these have like at least 10 hours.
And then you got all
Yeah,
the bonus features, all the
yeah,
documentaries they did,
yeah,
or promo shots, marketing,
yeah, yep,
trailers. Some of them have music videos. Like, it's crazy how
yeah,
much stuff is on these discs.
yep.
Well, it's funny you should say that, though, because that's one thing that's really surprised me in the last, say, 10 years. How many people I would consider to be hardcore movie fans, and people that I know really, really well, that people have known for years and years and years, and they've gone from like DVDs and Blu-rays straight
Mhm.
to streaming, and they don't care about commentaries, making ofs, trailers,
Hmm.
music.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what happened there? I'm like, because I'm
yeah,
really fascinated. How many people have just gone, yeah, I don't mind about commentaries anymore. It's like really,
yeah.
they're some of my favorite things.
You know,
Wow.
I think it's like people just gave up that sort of fan experience, a big fan experience, right?
Yeah.
When you want to watch commentaries on, particularly if it's not just the actors, but if it's like directors and editors,
Yeah.
stuff like that, stunt people,
Mm-hmm.
you're really into it. But people gave all that up just for the convenience of streaming.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, they didn't
Oh
want to
yeah,
have
that's true.
to buy it. I mean, it's a lot cheaper to just, you know,
Mhm.
get a streaming subscription than buying new, at least retail DVDs and Blu-rays was. But yeah, I think it's unfortunate because I think that's kind of going to be, I expect it to be kind of a lost art in years to come if people don't kind of go back to consuming that stuff.
Right.
Well, I'm always amazed with the commentaries though, because I feel like with some things there, and you're 100% right what you've just said, but with the commentary, if like on Netflix, if you can go between like English,
Yeah.
French, Spanish, or something, and
Mhm.
then the next one is commentary, I feel like that can't be that hard to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It- it-
it's just an audio track, right? It's like us
Yeah.
yeah,
recording this right now. It's
Yeah.
just you got to get the actor in the room to go, you know, put the film on and have them talk over it. It can't be that hard.
Mhm.
It's
but
and
I
wouldn't you
feel
think like if I was an actor like certainly at this level or probably if I did even if I did it like a no-name film, I would want to produce a commentary,
Yes.
right?
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
would want to show up for that and be like, yeah, let's talk about the film, let's talk about what was going on at the time, and also this really pissed me off this day this thing like I really want to like talk about, you know, how difficult it was to do this one scene or whatever. Like I just feel like it'd be kind of a cathartic experience for the actor.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should say that though, because like literally exactly what you've just said, like the DVD for the new Wolfman film that came out a couple of months ago, and I put the commentary onto that, and the director was saying pretty much exactly what you was just saying, that like, oh, this went wrong and that went wrong. And I thought it was dead sweet though, because he said when he was going into filmmaking, he would always listen to the director commentaries to figure out
Mhm.
how films were made and like, you know,
Yeah.
just the experience of it. And then he was saying like, he's saying, I don't know how many people are going to be listening to this because like nobody listens to him anymore. So
Yeah.
it's basically
Right.
as if he was just talking to himself.
Yeah. You got some interesting little nuggets in those.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's
Well,
on
it's,
this one here. There was a little bit of trivia on the commentary on Living Daylights, and he said it hadn't been on the internet or anywhere. Like no one caught it, but he put out a blooper, or a what do you call it?
like a mistake,
A
an error.
mistake where when Necros falls off the plane, it's a 4-engine plane, but the plane he falls off of is a 2-engine plane, and that side of him falling off the
Oh.
back, it's the plane has 2 engines. He goes, oh, yeah, and it's a little mistake there, but no one's noticed it. But I'll mention it in the commentary. John Glenn said. So you can even
Wow.
find little nuggets like that on commentaries. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, even that's kind of an interesting because
Yeah.
like when people mention mistakes in movies, I normally if I don't like noticing mistakes in movies because I always feel like I always look at them all the time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cool to be like nobody's picked up on this in like 30 years. But I'll
Yeah.
say anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Hmm. Well, I guess. Oh, yes, and so we're finished with Living Daylights, and I was hoping we could get the Wubs on board. It was so awesome when I brainwashed Wubs into liking Diamonds Are Forever, but I haven't gotten to fall for it anymore other than that. But
Yeah, well, you know, to be fair though, I will say I enjoyed Octopussy a lot
oh,
more.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This time, yeah,
Yeah.
as well. And I
Yeah.
could really see, like, watching that intro, I could really see why it's your favorite intro. Like, it was amazing, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it was just unbelievable in 1983.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I
To be
can
fair though,
appreciate that.
Tylord,
Yeah.
if you could make somebody like Diamonds Are Forever who didn't normally, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was me
It's
or
true.
the new Blu-ray prints. All these new Blu-ray prints make everything look so crisp.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. It
Yeah.
was not one where I was just like, oh god, I hate this movie so much. But I think I never realized how hilarious it was before.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing. When I was a kid, I was watching it probably more from the perspective of, oh, it's sort of dumb and
Yeah.
it's not as cool as Thunderball
Yeah.
You know, like I was always comparing it to the other Connery
Yeah.
movies, and it's like that's not what you're supposed to do with that movie at all. It's just that's Austin Powers before Austin Powers. Like that's, that's how you watch Diamonds Are Forever.
But I think what you said earlier on, though, Wubs, at the start of this commentary, I think when you see certain films, because when I saw Diamonds Are Forever, I think it was one of the first Bond films I ever saw. So to me, it's just like, oh, that's what James Bond's like. I just assumed that was just a James Bond movie, and it wasn't until way after I was like, oh, people criticise this or this, and I was just like, that took me years to realise. I still love that movie.
Yeah, and I mean it's still entertaining, right? It's still enough of the formula that I feel like you can watch it that way, and it's still good. It's just it's tough for me watching Diamonds immediately after OHMSS, because it just feels like such a insane break in tone after Tracy's death. And the little intro they do for Diamonds, I think, is just not enough to make up for her death, you know, and the emotion that would be going on after that when he was trying to get Blofeld. So,
well, do you know what though? I don't think I've ever really thought about it till you just said. But is that the biggest juxtaposition between two movies, where one film was so serious and so like, you know, like heartfelt, and then the next film is just like crazy. That is a good, I've never made that point before. That is a really good observation.
Yeah, I think that's the only time. Sometimes it'll go from really silly to really serious, but I don't know about that. It's probably the only time it goes super dark ending into something so light.
Well, and that's why when we were reviewing those films, Tylord, you made the point that you sometimes watch it as a direct sequel to You Only Live Twice. And I think that makes a lot more sense in tone, even though the end of You Only Live Twice is pretty dark, with Blofeld escaping and almost destroying the world and everything. Like, it was a big thing, but it just didn't have the depth of the end of OHMSS. I feel like Live and Let Die is such a better continuation as a film to come after OHMSS than Diamonds, I think.
Yeah, I can say it's like a darker tone, and I thought that movie was scary when I was a kid.
I did too. I was scared. The voodoo stuff was freaky when I was a kid. It's pretty dark, and you know, Roger is like he's still Roger, but he's like the darkest Bond, I think, in Live and Let Die. Like of his films, that's like his darkest film.
Yeah, I think so.
And so it just plays better, I think, with OHMSS as a continuation.
Yeah, it's tough.
And as well, I'll just say this quick while I think about it, but credit where it's due for being able to use the acronyms, because I don't know why. Probably says something about how my brain works. I can never remember the acronyms for Bond movies. When I used to go on the James Bond message board years ago, and everybody would truncate the films down to acronyms, and I'd always be like, which one's this? It's really obvious if it's like DN, it's like, well, it's Dr. No or something. But like, I'd always have to second guess myself. I'd be like, which film are they talking about? Oh, of course, that one, It's like, well, I guess it's kind of obvious when you start off with O, and then because obviously we were talking about George Lazenby and stuff, so I put two together quite quick. But when I see it in text, it always catches me off guard. I'm like, which Bond film's that? Oh yeah, of course, never seen them again. It's like,
well, you know, and there's getting to be so many of them now. It's like you'd have to do a double take if we were talking entirely in acronyms. That would be tough to keep up with.
Well, you know what's funny though? This again talks about how my brain works, but because there's so many remakes in the last, say, 10, 20 years, it still catches me off guard. If you see a poster and it says, from the producer of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm like, isn't Toby Hooper dead? And I'm like, and they're on about like the remake or something. Or it's like, from the people that brought you Friday the 13th. I'm like, which one?
Right? And you can't even use you can't do acronyms with all the Bond movies, because just you got Skyfall and Spectre. So you have to specify, right? Like,
that's a good goal. Or even like, I'm sorry, Tylord.
Oh, go ahead.
No, but even though the fact there's 3 Casino Royale, it's like, and like, I never thought, with being a big horror fan, there's 3 films called Halloween, and they all kind of connect in some way. It's like, I never thought that would be something to be so confusing. It's like,
Wow, there's 3 of them
Yeah.
called Halloween now.
Well, there's John Carpenter's Halloween, there's Rob Zombie's Halloween, and there's
Oh my gosh,
2018.
you're right. There's 3
Yeah.
Halloween.
There's 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, so
And
now you
they're
have to-
wildly different too. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like they're like so different.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll close it up from there. It's been a blast talking to you guys. Appreciate you guys doing this with me. But yeah, awesome to have you here again, Dave. Thanks again, Wubs, for everything. You got anything else to say, Wubs?
Do you expect me to talk more?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die!
Well done, boys. Another successful mission. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this debriefing, please like and share it with your friends.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.